Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Im Namen Gottes, des Alabamas, des Barmherzigen. Wir befinden uns hier in der Innenstadt von Zürich. Wir hatten gerade die Friedensdemo für das unterdrückte Volk Palästinas. Die geehrten Rabbiner haben uns begleitet, waren an unserer Seite, haben klar ihre Botschaft geäußert und wir sind sehr dankbar dafür, dass sie den weiten Weg auf sich genommen haben, um zu zeigen, dass Zionismus nichts mit Judentum zu tun hat und dass jeder Mensch, der einen gesunden Verstand hat, sich für Gerechtigkeit einsetzen sollte. Wir wissen, warum es wichtig ist, zu differenzieren zwischen Zionismus und Judentum. Und der geehrte Rabbiner ist ständig auf Reise, um genau diese Botschaft zu vermitteln. Deswegen möchte ich gerne vom Rabbiner, wenn er sich kurz vorstellt und was ihn dazu antreibt, genau diese Botschaft auch in die Welt zu tragen.
My name is Rabbi Elhanan Beck. I'm a rabbi in London, in Stamford Hill. I'm traveling all over the world to spread out the true Jewish voice against Zionism and the State of Israel, and to bring out what is the real, true Torah position about the State of Israel, and that Judaism is extremely opposite against the State of Israel. It's completely two extreme opposites. This can't go together. And I came also here to Zurich that the respected Sheikh invited us to come here to give out the Jewish voice. So because of that, we are here on Quds Day to bring out the real Jewish voice about the State of Israel.
In the time till the First World War, before the era of the Zionists, before the establishment of their cursed Zionist movement, there was few thousand Jewish people in Palestine. They lived in peace with hundreds of thousands of Palestinian people, and many more. According to the history, the historians, there was about 1,600 villages, towns, and cities all over the place in Palestine. There was a small Jewish communities that developed with the blessing of the Turkish regime and with the blessing of the Muslims, and we worked together. But at the beginning of the First World War, the Zionist movement started to shipping non-religious Jews in the thousands to Palestine with a clear target to take over Palestine from the Muslims. Till that time, till the First World War, Jews just came to live, to enjoy from the holiness of the land, and living with peace and harmony with the Muslims. Then the Turks didn't see any threat from these Jews. But from the beginning of the First World War, the Zionist movement starts pouring in thousands of non-religious Jews, Zionist Jews, in order to create a lot of villages spread all over the place in order to take over Palestine from the Muslims. But still, till 48, there was a vast majority of Palestinians, which was overwhelmed the Zionist colonies, which they built between the First World War until 48. So the Zionists saying a big lie, a big vicious propaganda lie, that there was not so many Palestinians lived in Palestine, which that's one of the biggest lies. There was more than 1.7 million Palestinians lived in Palestine before 48. And more than 1 million has been deported, thrown out, deportiert from Palestine to the refugee camps where I mentioned that a few times in my speech. And that's always the Zionists are trying to say, oh, there's no Palestinian people. Yeah, there was no Palestinian people. So who lived in these 1,400 cities and towns and villages? Who was the one who accommodated us and was so friendly to us? If not, there's 1.7 million Palestinian people before 48. And I'm talking about only about the boundaries of partial Palestine, because there was even more than 1.7 million Palestinians. And then this ethnic cleansing, this atrocity this war crime that they throw out more than 1 million Palestinians from their lands, it was in order to create a Zionist majority in Palestine. But even that so, till today, they don't have a majority, because the 3 million Palestinians in the West Bank, 2 million Palestinians in Gaza, and another 2 million Palestinians in the ancient Palestine from 48 boundaries, so they don't have a majority really. There's more Palestinians in the world than Zionists and inhabitants in Palestine until today. With their vicious terrorist military, with their vicious terrorist police, with all the theft of the land, and all their killing of innocent Palestinians, still there is, according to my knowledge, there's a majority of Palestinians. You know why? Because as Rabbi Beck have said, going in rebellion against God would not succeed. There's a lot of Zionist Jews that see that there's no success and by being in Palestine under Zionist jurisdiction. They see that the end of the Zionist state is coming. So you know where they're going? They go back to Europe, they go back to America. They have no interest to live in such a terrorist Zionist state.
Die deutsche Medienlandschaft versucht, jede Kritik an Israel als Antisemitismus darzustellen. Viele Muslime auch sind dem verfallen, sind schwach geworden und trauen sich nicht mehr, die Verbrechen Israels und des Zionismus klar anzusprechen. Es gibt auch Muslime, die versuchen, das zu relativieren und sagen zum Beispiel, warum provozieren die Palästina? Warum bringen sie zum Beispiel Feuerwerk mit in die Moschee und provozieren das? Und das ist ja gar keine ursprüngliche muslimische Moschee in Quds. Und so nimmt die Kritik an dem Zionismus immer ab. Haben Sie eine Botschaft an diese Leute?
The Sheikh have said, brought a very important point, that the last 10 years, the Zionist movement are controlling the media in the world. And they trying to say that every word that any Muslim will talk about the suppression, about the killing of the Palestinian people, it's a pure anti-Semitism. And that's how they shut the mouth of many professors. Not only Muslims, there's a lot of British professors that lost their jobs because they just opened their mouth about such a systematic killing of the Palestinian people. They were being stigmatized, but demonized as anti-Semites. And no one would like to be called anti-Semite. The German media, as part of their bad feeling that they killed so many Jews, they would like to compensate the Jewish people by giving them a land and weapons. It's known that the Germany give a lot of weapons, a lot of money for the Zionist state. Because that they think that God would forgive them for the killing of innocent Jews in the Second World War. But God will not forgive them for creating another Holocaust for the Palestinian people. That's not a compensation for the Jewish people. We don't need compensation from the Germans. And of course not such a compensation by supporting the Zionist state and making sweet all their terrorist acts against the Palestinian people. And that's why today everyone who opens his mouth against the atrocities and against the apartheid of the Zionist regime against the Palestinians, you right away get a stigma, you get a symbol as an anti-Semitic, and no one would like to have to live with that. People are having a hard time to find a job after that. People have been thrown out of the universities, sheikhs, imams, big professors, big business light cannot talk and saying, stop the killing of innocent people. Why they cannot talk? As I said, because of the German policy to compensate the Zionist state.
Vielen Dank für diese wichtigen Worte. Und deswegen, ich finde es extrem wichtig, dass wir uns von dieser Propaganda nicht einschüchtern lassen. Wir wissen sehr wohl zu differenzieren zwischen Judentum und die Lehre des Judentums und die Verbrechen des Zionismus. Deswegen schätzen wir auch sehr, was Sie machen, und wir schätzen sehr Ihre Arbeit, dass Sie gekommen sind, dass Sie so klar gesprochen haben und gesagt haben, dass das Judentum nichts mit dem Zionismus zu tun hat und Sie als Würdenträger dieser Religion sich klar auch für die Palästinenser einsetzen und auch sehr schön betont haben, wie harmonievoll die Beziehung eigentlich war zwischen Juden und Muslimen. Können Sie vielleicht uns noch einmal einen Eindruck darüber geben, ein paar Beispiele, wie harmonievoll, wie friedlich war denn die Beziehung zwischen Juden und Muslimen?
The Sheikh have said the beautiful things that he would like me to ask to describe how good is the relations were between Muslims and Jews. I'm going to give one example from where I'm coming from. I'm coming from Iraq. I was born in Palestine, but my parents were coming from Iraq. My father, his soul would rest in peace in heaven, used to have a motorbike and goes with an Arab to Al-Azir. Al-Azir, it's a holy person by us Jews, which is holy by the Muslims also. They respect it very much. They used to go the whole night traveling with a motorbike to the place to pray there. They used to sleep on the earth on the way. They used to eat together, bread and water, like brothers. Our neighbor in Shara Bab el-Sharji, that's one of the main streets in Iraq, in Baghdad. His soul should rest in peace. He was a Muslim, he was a Shia, he was not a Sunni even. He used to take, my mother used to tell me, he used to take the whole family on a wagon, on a car, in a wagon with horses to show them the cities, Najaf and Karbala. Would you believe it? He took them to a tour. They told him, take your food. I'm not going to give you food you don't eat. Take your food. I'll take you for a tour. A whole few days. He showed them the whole city, the rivers, Tigris and Euphrates.
Very important.
My mother told me that.
Wonderful.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
This is so important.
Thank you very much.
It's really very, very important.
Thank you.
Would you believe, if I tell you to people that my family has been hosted, there was a building, they lived in a building. In the first floor, it was the Muslim family that they used to own the house. My parents was very poor. They lived on the second floor. As I said that there was a pro-Nazis, the German embassy at the Second World War tried to create problems for the Jews in Baghdad. So they hired with money some Muslim that should come and kill the Jews. Not many of them. Some of them were elements from the police. They were influenced by the Germans. So they wanted to go from house to kill Jews. Do you know how many Jews has been saved? Thousands of thousands. They worked so hard to kill Jews, these poor Nazi elements, but they couldn't kill more than 180 Jews. And how many Jews were saved? Tens of thousands. I'll tell a story from my family. My mother was not married yet, she was a child. And she told me that they were all get scared to the second floor, and the owner of the house took a sword and he stood by the gate. So these people came to kill the Jews. Said, Mister, we have nothing against you, you're Muslim. Stay in the side. We'd like only to get the Jews there. You know what did he tell them? On my dead body. You have to kill me first, then you kill the Jews. He didn't have anything to lose. He could have told them, go inside, kill them. I don't care. You know what he told them? These are my children. These are my children. I asked my mother, he said that? She, yeah, he didn't allow them. He stood with a sword that you have to kill me first. Because there's a tradition by the Muslims. If someone was your guest, the Muslim would give his life for you.
Oh, wonderful.
That was a Jewish life with the Muslims.
Oh,
That's the Zionists would like to erase. It says, no, there was no such thing. But this fact can be ignored? Is this fact can be denied? La samahallah. God forbid.
Wonderful. Vielen Dank für die wirklich sehr, sehr wichtigen Worte. Und ich möchte auch den Muslimen etwas ausrichten. Weil viele Muslime haben großes Leid erfahren durch den Zionismus. Und können nicht differenzieren zwischen Zionisten und Juden und entwickeln dann einen Hass auf Juden. Viele Eltern geben das auch den Kindern leider mit. Das heißt, wenn sie demonstrieren, sagen die dann zum Beispiel, Tod den Juden. Oder alle Juden sind unsere Feinde. Und hier müssen die Muslime ganz vorsichtig sein, dass die Juden haben nichts mit diesen Verbrechen zu tun. Und die jüdische Lehre verbietet das. Und wenn man demonstriert und gegen Juden hetzt, dann arbeitet man sowohl gegen Juden, gegen den Islam und sogar gegen Palästina. Deswegen müssen Muslime auch vorsichtig sein und nicht generalisieren und die Juden für schuldig erklären für dieses Verbrechen. Juden wie Sie und Ihre Vorfahren haben sich immer für Muslime eingesetzt. Und das ist die Botschaft, die wir nach außen tragen sollen.
Take a look for these beautiful words. After 75 years, who could have believed that the Muslims will still host us and give us, mercy and love and telling us, we're going to continue to protect you. The Sheikh, the honorable Sheikh, have said a very important thing. When the Muslims are getting angry about all the crimes of the Zionists, they start putting their anger all over the Jews without differentiating. Because they're getting angry, they don't know who. There is no really advertisement among the Muslims that who is the real to be blamed. But when we work together, we come and meet each other. And we make such an advertisement between the Muslims, then they see as that the Jews has nothing against them. That the Jews don't want any security. We can live together with the Muslims without any military, without any police force that should guard us. We don't need it. And then when the Muslims see that we come and tell them, we are your brothers, we have nothing to do with killing, we don't want to kill you, we love to live in peace and harmony with you. Then the Muslim would educate their children and says, no, the Jews are not to be blamed. It's the Zionist terror squad regimes, they are to be blamed. We don't need them. We don't need their evil. And take a look. This that we sit here together, yes, such a cooperation would bring a lot of false advertisement between the Muslims and strengthen the point that Jews are not Zionist and the Jewish people should not be blamed for the Zionist atrocities.
Sehr, sehr wichtige Worte. Ich möchte Ihnen ein paar Hadithe mitgeben. Sie sprechen ja auch Arabisch und verstehen Arabisch sehr gut. Wir haben einen Imam, der heißt Imam al-Sadiq a.s. Und der hatte gesagt, in jalasta Yahudiyan, fa'ahsin mujalasatahu. Wenn du dich zu einem Juden gesellst, dann sei ein guter Geselle. Und wir haben Imam Ali a.s., der eine Predigt hat. In dieser Predigt sagt er, wenn ein Muslim hören sollte, dass eine Juden stirbt, weil man ihr Gewalt angetan hat und aus Trauer stirbt, dann ist das bei mir nicht tadelnswert, sondern es ist lobenswert. Unser Imam hat uns gelehrt, wenn wir Anteilnahme haben, Empathie haben und hören, dass eine Judin stirbt aus Unrecht und dann trauern sollten und vor Trauer und Kummer sterben sollten, dann ist das was Lobenswertes. Und ich denke, das ist etwas, was unsere Religion im Prinzip lehrt und uns vereint, dass wir Hand in Hand miteinander sein können, uns gegenseitig respektieren können und miteinander gegen das Unrecht einstehen sollen. Also durch die Lehren von Imam al-Sadiq und Imam Ali ist es zum Beispiel im Iran sehr wichtig, dass die Juden ihre Freiheit haben. Dass es einen Abgeordneten auch im Parlament gibt. Dass sie ihre Synagogen haben, ihre eigenen Schulen haben. Das hat uns Imam Ali gelernt, das hat uns Imam al-Sadiq gelernt.
Why we should go back? It's important to go back 1200 years ago, but let's go today in Iran. You have a religious regime there, which amazingly defends the Jews. Al-Imam Ayatollah Khomeini, his soul should rest in peace, in heaven. When he took power in 77, so as known as Muslim religion forbid to drink wine. So the Jewish delegation came to greet him for his victory, that he came back from exile in France. So they told him that we need to produce wine for our religious ceremony. You know what he did? He right away sat down and he wrote down a decree, an order for the government that Jews be allowed to produce wine for their religious purposes, not to spread it in the land because that's not allowed by the Muslims, but for their own purposes. In Iran, we're not talking about Morocco, which is more modern land. In Iran, they allowed it right away. That was one of the first things that Imam Ayatollah Khomeini has done. That's the first thing. In Iran, we have, as I said, 15,000 Jews who live in peace. They have synagogues, they have Torah studies, the Jewish holy book studies. No one bothers them. They have a lot of them are rich Jews. It's even some Jews go to collect money in Iran from the rich Jewish people. And the rabbi there, what's the name of the rabbi? He's an anti-Zionist rabbi. We have in Iran representatives in the parliament. And we enjoy for full rights. He's a member of parliament. We have a member of it has nothing to do with elections. It's automatically we receive full right of a parliament member every year. There's no such thing like that the Jews has no parliament member in the parliament. in Iran. In Iran, yes. It's beautiful. Iran are keeping our holy sites in Iran. In Hamdan, we have the graves of our king, Esther and Mordechai, which is very holy for us. It's been protected there by the Iranian police. Yeah, yes, in Shushan also. That shows how much, yes, the Shiites in Iran are respecting us. So I say for the Iranian government, thank you. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you for allowing us to practice religion. Thank you for the cooperation. And thank you for your efforts to bring justice to the Middle East.
Vielen Dank für diese wichtigen Worte und vielen Dank auch für diese Dankbarkeit für auch die genannten Beispiele. Aber ich finde auch, dass man im Westen, im deutschsprachigen Raum, mehr solche Gespräche haben sollte, mehr zeigen sollte, dass Islam und Judentum miteinander agieren können, friedlich miteinander leben können und das Problem nicht die Religionen sind. Das Problem ist ja, da gibt es eine Besatzung, ein Volk, das besetzt wird und eine Besatzertruppe. Das ist das Problem. Das hat nichts mit Islam oder Juden zu tun, oder? Wenn die Palästinenser sich wehren wollen oder die Muslime sich aufregen, dann nicht, weil sie Juden hassen, sondern weil dort Unrecht geschieht, weil sie besetzt werden. Das ist ein ganz wichtiges Statement und ich hoffe, dass wir auch weiterhin miteinander mitarbeiten können und diesen friedlichen Dialog beibehalten können. Und hoffentlich sehen wir uns eines Tages im Quds wieder in Harmonie und in Frieden.
Inshallah.
Und können
Inshallah.
gemeinsam
Inshallah.
dort unseren Gottesdienst verrichten. Inshallah. Ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich, dass Sie da waren, dass Sie diese Mühe auf sich genommen haben. Das ist nicht selbstverständlich und das zeugt von der Gerechtigkeitsliebe, die Sie haben und der Gerechtigkeitsliebe, die Ihre Religion trägt. Wir schätzen das sehr und stehen in der Dankschuld. Wir danken Ihnen sehr dafür, dass Sie gekommen sind und hoffen, dass wir Sie wiedersehen dürfen.
And shukran, we say thank you for the present that the Sheikh gave us. We say thank you for the cooperation. Thank you for all these good values that the Sheikh has told about the Jews and about the will to help the Jews, to save the Jews, to protect the Jews, and to denounce and to condemn world Zionism. And we're going to get rid of world Zionism. We're going to live together in Palestine, in Iran, in Morocco, inshallah. God will reveal his kingdom in the world together.
Inshallah. Vielen Dank auch, Rabbi Beck, für die Mühe. Ich hoffe, wir konnten euch ein paar wichtige Informationen mitgeben, ein paar wichtige Eindrücke von unserer Friedensdemo mitgeben und hoffe, dass wir inshallah alle beisammen in Frieden leben können und die Erlösung erleben dürfen und die Freiheit aller Völker erleben dürfen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin.